It's March and it's still winter. Who knows how long it's going to go on for? Nobody knows. And here are these beautiful beings. Beings of love and light. Yeah. Beautiful. So gorgeous. Oops, just get this camera right. Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah. They're having a bit of sunbaking here. Oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, so lovely. Okay. Yeah, so see if I can get hold of the other one. So while we're standing here, I thought I'd talk about meat and eating meat. And it's hard to understand how can we eat such a beautiful animal. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Just move a bit. It's such a beautiful day. It's just such a beautiful day. Let's see if we can do it like this. Oh, praise the Lord. So gorgeous. Let's try here. See what happens. Come on, right here. She's a bit more tame, this one. So yeah, how can we eat these animals? Well, for my own journey through life, I've known really more or less all my life. I had to have. I really. She doesn't like that. Leave her. Just stand here. Yeah, I really needed meat and the minerals, I think, especially, but also fats. And it's very interesting, and it's a huge part of modern life, the whole thing of what should I eat. And I think it's partly because our bodies are changing, and we're just feeling all this incredible change going on, and we feel what's happening really is many of us are getting more and more unhealthy, and we wish to be healthy. And so there's all these millions of theories, I mean I think it is millions of theories about how to eat, what not to eat, and what to eat lots of, what to not eat lots of, and all these things. And and there's no doubt our bodies are changing in their structure, and the whole thing of the DNA, which I really don't know about. I believe that we are becoming much lighter. And in the future, we're not going to need so much food. I'm very sure of that. We're not going to have to spend all that time producing food and eating food, because our body is going to be nourished in other ways. And how fast that's going to happen and how it's going to happen, I don't know, but I'm very sure it's going to happen. And I can feel it just on my own journey that I'm wishing to eat more and more lightly and more watery things. And that's what they're saying, that we're going to eat, we're going to actually eat liquid food more and more, and then slowly we're going to stop eating or just eat very little. But as it is now on the earth, I think it's so important to listen to our bodies. I'm going to have to move. So I need to get more comfortable. Okay, let's try this. So what I got to was that in our daily life, to really listen to your body, because our bodies need nutrients, and if we're not getting nutrients enough, we simply can't function. So for some of us, we still need meat, and I think you can have many different reasons or many different explanations that will help you if you're still eating meat. And that is that man has been doing it always, and it's a very natural way to be. And that the animals are fine with it. It's not about slaughtering animals, because that's been happening ever since the beginning of time. Animals were caught by other animals, and it's not an evil thing to do. That's what we're brought up to believe by many, in many families, that you're naughty, you're nasty to the animals, and you don't love animals if you eat them. That's not true. And one of the books I got about the whole thing of connecting with animals, this woman, I can't remember what she's called, I'll write it under this video, who actually, she can completely have conversations with animals, and she eats meat herself. She says it's no problem for the animals, it's how we treat them that's what's important, and giving them love. So you can love your animals and eat them. Just for us modern people it seems strange, but for native people it was completely normal. So, and another thing that can support your action is that the fact that you're actually probably helping your body a real lot, because many of us are actually starving because we're not getting nutrients enough. So you're helping, and many people who use the GAPS diet and the SCD diet, many different diets, paleo diet, they're healing their bodies by eating meat apart from other things. So if you feel you need it, you're most likely you're doing yourself a very big favor. So it's very good what you're doing. So to really let go of the feeling that now I'm a bad person, because you're not. So, and I've got some videos coming about meat and all the meat we have. Sometimes when we have an animal butchered, there's so much. But it's funny, when I went to the sheep farm when I was a young girl in Australia, I went to the sheep farm and I saw that the farmer, he was butchering a sheep for the first time in my life. I saw this close up. I was with him, helping him. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was so beautiful to see all these parts of the animal. It was so magnificent, because you're always seeing the outside, but actually the body is so beautiful on the inside also. And to see all, it was just so fascinating. So I just don't have a problem with butchering and meat eating. And even when I've really loved an animal, I might cry when they leave, because I just have to say goodbye to them. But then eating them is not a problem for me. So, yeah, and what I want to share with you was on my own journey of healing and all the different books I've read and people I've listened to, I've found what's called, I just have to think, yeah, metabolic typing. And you might know all about this, but I'll share it here because I think it's so fascinating. The metabolic typing, I can't explain in detail, but the thing is our cells work in a certain way, and that is according to our genes and what we've inherited from our parents. So what happened when humans came to the earth and we started spreading out on earth, in the beginning we were all meat eaters, because we were these Neanderthal people. We became humans, and we spread out, and of course our diet changed as we spread out. But you can say basically the more north we went, the more meat we had to eat, the more we had to keep eating animals, and the more south we went, the more we could produce starchy things like rice and grain and tubers in the ground. So when you go to Africa, for instance, or the middle of the planet, you see many people on diets that are very starchy, and some vegetables, and very little meat or no meat. Actually, I think most people's, they're still traditional diets, they have some animal product. But people in China, their whole gut system, all their cells, their metabolism is geared to break down starch. It's natural for them, it's good for them. They can get energy out of white rice. And a person like me, who just can drink gravy and eat fat in big spoonfuls, I can't do that to my body. It won't work. I get very, very sick. And that's simply because my body is geared to the northern European way of eating, which my ancestors, the Vikings, going back further and further and further, the genetic makeup of my ancestors is to eat animal products, and that's the way my cells work. That's the way I can get nutrients out of the food. So I can't, and it's just like you can take a Greenlander, an Eskimo, who has lived off this, over thousands of years, they've gotten their body used to eating all this from the sea, all this fat, mainly fat really from the sea, from the seals and fish. And you put him on a raw vegan diet, he will probably die very quickly because his body gets a shock. It doesn't know what it is. And we can see, of course, the desperate thing that Western A. Price has shared with us, that the worst thing that happened really was that we came with our white flour and white sugar. Because that in itself, no matter where you come from, it's very, 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 very bad for you. It's very poisonous, actually, for the body. But people who were living on a natural diet, when they started eating these things, they got very, very sick. And the thing is, it blocks them. They got very unhealthy teeth. Apart from other things, they got mentally ill, many things. Because the nutrients their cells were used to, they weren't getting anymore. So they were starving, and they were becoming very toxic. So, and it's very, very fascinating. I'll show you the book Metabolic Typing, and you can go and make a test, and I'll show you the test in the book. So you can go and see what type you are. So you have what's called the protein type, which is me, who loves fat and does really well on fatty things. And then you have the starch type, or the carbohydrate type, who does very well on lots of vegetables and fruit and some grain. And then you have the mixed type. And according to yeah, I can talk more about this when I show the books, because there's also Dr. McCullough. He has made a book about it too, about metabolic typing, and uses this with his clients or patients. And he has a little bit of a different way to approach it. But it's interesting that the protein types and the carb types also have a different way of expressing themselves. And for instance, one of the differences I can remember is that the protein types, some of the differences, the protein types need food often, and they think a lot about food. Food is a very important part of their life. And they can't go for long times fasting. And if they go on a juice fast, it can actually be quite dangerous for them because they need the fats. So if you go on a juice fast, you're a protein type, you have to put fat into the juice, or in some way get your fats. Whereas the starch type, the carbohydrate type, they can fast, and it's very good for them to fast, and they can go for a long time without eating. So fascinating. Another thing is that the skin color of the protein type is more, you have more red, you have more color in your face. That's just, it's just general things. And the carb type has a more pale skin, or more light skin, more, not so much blood in the skin or something. So there's many different ways. I think they're also more calm. The protein types are more sort of nervy. So it's so fascinating. But yeah, we'll be talking more about meat and eating these beautiful animals. Yeah, I just encourage you to just say to yourself, it's okay. If your body wants meat, love your body and love it. And the animals love you. The animals want to give their meat to you. As long as you support good treatment of the animals, that's the main thing. So I'll end this video now. It's getting really warm here in the sun. It's so wonderful. Although it's just winter. Winter landscapes. The animals are stuffed and they're having their sun baking, and it is just still winter. And it's okay. All is well. See you, my friend. This is just to show you the book about how to communicate with animals. It's a lovely book by Martha Williams. See you.